Welcome back. This is Commander Noob Jank Apprentice. New name, same old content. Doesn't really matter. But tonight, I am showing off one of my my janky red and white deck. It's a Fire Song and Sun Speaker. They were a buy a box promo with Dominaria. Tried to do a Minotaur once. I didn't really like the deck, but I like this one. It's a legendary creature, Minotaur Cleric. Red instants and sorcery spells you control have lifelink. And of course, whenever a white instant or sorcery spell causes you to gain life, Fire Song and Sunspeaker deal 3 damage to target creature or player. So this is a fun deck to play. It's kind of fast. When people see how it works, they really want to get you off the game real quick. This episode is brought to you by Jim Beam, who's not my sponsor, and a Coke, who's also not my sponsor. But since we're having an adult conversation with the game, might as well have an adult beverage along with it, right? I love my Jim Beam. Anyways, going over the deck. I'm going to show off these cards last. These are the win cons. The win cons. This deck is missing one thing. I can't seem to find it, and I'll explain that later, but it is missing one thing. I have to find it before I go play this deck again. It's not in it. I counted it. It's 100 cards, 99 or 100 with that. I think I accidentally put it in a different deck. I didn't mean to. It's supposed to be in this one. So, I'm going to go over this deck real quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, plains. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Mountains. Some utility lands when it comes to red and white sources. I got the Boros Guildgate, which I hate. The Stone Quarry, which I don't hate, but I don't like it. Windcrag, which is okay, whatever. Those 3 lands, if you have 3 other better lands, go for them, get them. Needle Spires, Temple of Triumph, Sacred Foundry, and of course, Cliff Drop Retreats. You need fast mana, get good fast mana. Desert of True and Desert of the Fervent, cycling lands. If you get them later in the game, you can just cycle them away. That's a great thing about them. Memorial to Glory, Memorial to War. These are tap lands. I hate these lands. But Memorial to Glory will give you a creature if you absolutely need to. And Memorial to War will get rid of a land if they have a land that you really need to get rid of. For instance, if they're playing a, what's that called? Nyx? Something to Nyx. Where they can basically get a lot of land if they have a, you know what I'm trying to say. Anyways, my brain turned off. Evolving Wilds and Terramorphic Expanse, they do the same exact thing. They thin out your deck and they get you 2 basic lands. I don't know why I'm separating these. And of course, Ruins, why not? If you're playing red, pay a life, get a red, or of course pay 4, tap it, sacrifice a desert, and deal 2 damage to each opponent. Sheffield Dunes, pay a life. Sorry, just both of these give you the colorless mana, but they also let you pay a life and get basically poking for life. So a point. Anyways, pay a life, get a color. This one gives you a 1/1 counter until end of turn on one of your creatures. So creatures you control. So this one gets them all or creatures, but it's a desert. So you have 3 deserts here that you can sacrifice. And this one you can just sacrifice. This is a nifty one. It's just a utility land. Color fix, early game, pay 1, tap it, add 1 color any mana to your mana pool. Field of Ruin, get rid of one of their cards. Slayer Stronghold, get a colorless, and of course target creature gets +2/+0 and gains vigilance and haste until end of turn. This is great for if you have one of those big creatures come out and you really just want to do a big old stompy. Gateway Plaza, just kind of utility fix. Not a big fan of this one because you do have to pay 1 to get it in. It does come in tapped, but it is a color fix if you need it. And then, of course, Mirror Pool. Mirror Pool, you really want this card into play because it is a way of doubling your spell. So, comes in tapped, add a colorless to your mana pool, 2 in a colorless, tap it, sacrifice Mirror Pool, copy target instant sorcery spell you control. You may choose new targets for the copy, which is okay. And then, of course, because that's what it is what you want to do is you want to copy that 4 in a colorless, tap, sacrifice Mirror Pool, put a token onto the battlefield as a copy of target creature you control. So that one's not so much that great of a deal. So you really want to do the second one when you have the right cards in hand. And the right cards in hand, I will show you what those are in a minute. Going to go over the creatures real quick. Starting off with Young Pyromancer, because why not? 2/1 for 2. Whenever you cast an instant sorcery spell, put a 1/1 red elemental creature token onto the battlefield. This guy gets you little fast movers. Swiftly Vindicator for a red and a white. Double strike, vigilance, trample. He's a 1/1, which is awesome. But he's double strike, so it's a 2/2. Has vigilance, has trample. Chandra, Fire of Kaladesh. This is the one flip card in the entire deck. Pay 1 and 2 red. Whenever you cast a red spell and tap Chandra, Fire of Kaladesh. Tap it, Chandra, Fire of Kaladesh, deals 1 damage to target player. If Chandra has dealt 3 or more damage this turn, exile her, then return it to the battlefield transformed under her owner's control. I will show you the Planeswalker in a second. Boros Reckoner is a great wizard. Cost 3 into Boros colors. You can pay red, or you can pay white, or you can pay any mixture of the two. Whenever Boros Reckoner is dealt damage, it deals that much damage to any target, which is awesome because you basically, if it gets hit for 6, you can, oh yeah, okay, you take 6 damage too. Or your Torrential Gearhulk takes an extra 6 or something like that. Pay Boros, red or white. Boros Reckoner gains first strike until end of turn, so that's pretty cool. Tajik Legion's Edge. I keep wanting to do it in a French accent. I don't know why. 1, a red and a white, has haste, and it has Mentor, which is awesome. Prevent all combat damage that would be dealt to other creatures you control. You're not going to have too many creatures on the battlefield, but whatever. And of course, pay a red, pay a white. Tajik Legion's Edge gains first strike until end of turn. Gutter Snipe, because why would you not have a Gutter Snipe in a red burn deck? It doesn't make any sense. 2 and a red. Whenever you cast an instant sorcery spell, Gutter Snipe deals 2 damage to each opponent. Okay, now this one's kind of nifty. Heliod's Pilgrim. I've been playing this one for a long time, a lot of my white decks. When Heliod's Pilgrim enters the battlefield, you may search the library for an aura card. Reveal it, put it into your hand, and shuffle your library. I'll show you the interactions with that one in a second. Torbrand, Thran of Redfell. 1 and 3 red. If a red source you control would deal damage to an opponent or a permanent an opponent controls, it deals that much damage plus 2 instead. So it's a beefed up Gutter Snipe, 2/4. Yeah, you want that. True Fire Captain. I would say of all the creatures so far, this is probably the one that if you have a better 4-drop, put it in. Mentor. Whenever True Fire Captain is dealt damage, it deals that much damage to a target player. I'm sorry, I didn't realize I was not putting that in the right spot. Sir Kara the Bold is a great card. Sir Kara the Bold, or an instant sorcery spell you control, deals damage to a player. Exile a top card of the library. You may play that card this turn. Tap it. Sir Kara deals 1 damage to any target. This is a great little pinger. It's also, exile sorcery spell. Anyways, great little card for this deck. Fire Servant. 3 and 2 red. If a red instant or sorcery spell you control would deal damage, it deals double that damage instead, which is awesome because you're gaining life anyways. And it's a 4/3. Blaze Commando, 3, a 5, and a white. 3, a red and a white. Whenever it's a sorcery spell you control deals damage, put 2 1/1 red and white soldier creature tokens with haste onto the battlefield. And he's a 5/3, so you get an extra little pingers. Things to, anyways. Charmbreaker Devil. Everybody loves this one. 5 and a red. I like this one just because it's foil. It looks kind of extra cool. Especially right there in the middle. Anyways, at the beginning of your upkeep, return an instant sorcery card at random from your graveyard to your hand. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, Charmbreaker Devil gets +4/+0 until end of turn. It's a 4/4, which basically is an 8/4. That one and this one are my biggest ones. Angrath's Marauders, 5 and a 2. If source you control would deal damage to a permanent or player, it deals double that damage to that permanent or player instead. It's a 4/4 for 7. I don't particularly like that 7, and it's only a 4/4, but it does do double the damage, and it's my biggest spell in the entire deck. So I normally don't even see it. But the Planeswalker, when you flip Chandra, and hopefully you're able to flip her. If you're not able to flip her, then she doesn't quite get as much emphasis. And I'll be honest, I did have the other Planeswalker, was it Chandra? Torch of Defiance in this deck, and I felt that as soon as I had her, when I was milling myself, it was painful. So I took her out, and this one was always in. I took her out for something, put her in a different deck, and I might put her back in this one. Chandra was Roaring Flame. Chandra Roaring Flame deals 2 damage to target player. That's her +1. -2 is Chandra Roaring Flame deals 2 damage to target creature. And then, of course, for -7, Chandra Roaring Flame deals 6 damage to each opponent. Each player dealt damage this way gets an emblem at the beginning of your upkeep. And this emblem deals 3 damage to you. So it's really kind of cool if you're able to go off and get to the 7. Because if you can get to the 7, if you're able to get to the 7, then the ability, yeah, I mean, you're just going to kill them over time. But you know what they say, all planeswalkers must die. Okay, so these are my mana rocks, because you know red and white really don't have a lot of mana ramp abilities. So you definitely want to have some mana rocks in here along with all the lands that you're going to have. Abilities to, hopefully they give you more than something else. But anyways, Feldwar Stone is going to get you any color mana that your opponents are playing. Boros Signet, pay 1, get a red and a white. Talisman of Conviction, 2-drop, you get a colorless, but you also get a red or a white if you're willing to pay the damage. Chromatic Lantern, it gives you a mana, it makes your colors, it makes your lands whatever color you want them to be, red or white. Hedron Archive, this one's a 4-drop. You get 2, which is great. 2, a tap, and of course you get to draw 2 cards. I would normally tell you not to use the bottom one, you'll see in the future, but I've had to do it myself a couple times. Gilded Lotus. I hope that's not on my card. Okay, it's not. Gilded Lotus, add 3 mana of any color. So that's cool for 5. You want those drops. And honestly, when it comes to these, when it comes to mana rocks, when it comes to the spells, this deck is fast. This deck is fun. But people have a tendency to see it and they go overboard. This is not supposed to be in here. Explorer Scope is not supposed to be here. It's an equipment. Whenever equipped creature attacks, look top card of your library. If it's a land card, put it into your battlefield tapped. This is actually supposed to be Basalt Monolith, which unfortunately Basalt Monolith is in my other deck. But that one goes with another card. So we'll talk about that one in a minute. Howling Mine, because everybody likes to draw cards. And Azor's Gateway, because you're going to burn through cards. You might as well, have a choice of which cards are going away. And you want to flip it. But Howling Mine, each player draws 1 extra card during their draw phase. It's just a kick-ass ability. And, of course, I have to go with the old school Howling Mine because I like the old school Howling Mine. This one flips, which is really cool. The trick to this one is you have to have 5 cards that don't have the same converted mana cost. You have to have 5 separate converted mana costs. So it says draw a card, then exile a card from your hand. If the card with 5 or more different converted mana costs are exiled with Azor's Gateway, you gain 5 life, untap Azor's Gateway, and transform it. And to be honest, I have actually had both of these cards at one time exiled with this to flip it. It was a little painful, but I needed to do it anyways because on this side it says add X mana of any one color to your mana pool where X is your life total. And that's part of, if you're able to get that off, that's actually part of one of the, what do they call it? Game winning. Oh man, my brain just turned off. I don't know why I'm even awake. Anyways, that's part of the win cons. There you go. Win conditions. That's part of one of the win conditions. Going to go over the instants here. Instants real quick. Got Lightning Strike, Lightning Bolt, Fire Prophecy, Deacon of Destruction, War Leader's Helix, and Lightning Helix. Because you got to burn. You don't want too many instants in this one, but the instants that you do put in that are red, just do damage and get them out of your hand as fast as possible. There is really no recursion, but you're trying to get him down to do damage. So get your land out and get your mana rocks out as fast as possible. The gaining life, you're going to gain life. You want to gain life, so gain life anyways. Cast these just to cast them. So first 4, 5, 6 turns, whatever it takes to stay in the game, play the renewed faith, play the cards that are going to give you life. So renewed faith, it's a cycling card, but you're never going to cycle it because you want the 6 life. Heliod's intervention, X and 2 white. To destroy X target artifacts and or enchantments, or target player gains X twice the X life. You want to use the X life. Divine Offering, destroy target artifact, you gain life equal to its converted mana cost. Swords to Plowsharers, because sometimes they just have a creature you have to get rid of. Pure and simple. Lapse of Certainty. Now this one's great because this is like one of white's only counter spells. 2 and a white, counter target spell. If that spell is countered this way, put it on top of the owner's library instead of into the player's graveyard. So you're not really, you're countering it, but you're more like bouncing it back to the library. So you're making them waste a draw and a turn. So it's kind of, yeah. Invoke the Divine, destroy target artifact enchantment, you gain 4 life. Sanguine Sacrament, this one's cool because it's X and 2 white. You gain twice X life, put Sanguine Sacrament on the bottom of its owner's library. So you get to cast it again if you're lucky, if you're lucky. Anyways, Revitalize, you gain 3 life, draw a card. Cool thing about this one is if they don't have a way of, I mean, let's just say it goes on all, every turn to the end, and this is on the bottom of your library. When you cast it again, because you're going to draw it, you're going to cast it, you're going to gain a bunch of life, you're going to put it back on the bottom of your library, which is the only card in your library. You're not going to end up milling yourself unless they cancel it, and then you'll mill yourself the next turn. Anyways, on to the sorceries. Sorceries. Okay, now I put Molten Psyche up here because here's a card you hardly ever see in a commander deck. I love this card. 1 and 2 red. Sorcery. Each player shuffles shuffles the cards from his or her hand into his or her library, then draws that many cards. Doesn't sound that bad unless you have Metalcraft, which hopefully you do because, you got enough mana. Artifacts. If you control 3 or more artifacts, Molten Psyche deals damage to each opponent equal to the number of cards that player has drawn this turn. So it's really kind of cool is, you're hurting them. You're hurting them and you're getting more cards. Red Sun Zenith. Red Sun Zenith deals X damage to target creature or player. If a creature dealt damage this way would be put in the graveyard this turn. Exile instead. Shuffle Red Sun Zenith back into its owner's library. So it's like a beefed up lightning bolt. Well, it's a beefed up lightning. I don't know about lightning bolt. Because if you only do it for 1, it's really nothing. I guess you could say it's a beefed up Helix. No, I don't know. It's really cool because you can hit something for 4. Yeah, it does cost you 5, but you hit something for 4 or 6 or 8 or whatever, and then you get to put it back into your library and do it again. Deafening Clarion, 1 a red and a white. Choose one or both. Deafening Clarion deals 3 damage to each creature, or Deafening Clarion, or creatures you control gain lifelink until end of turn. So this is a great card to play on your turn to basically hopefully kill them, or hopefully do their anyways. And if you have a big enough creature on the battlefield where it survives and it has lifelink, so that's kind of cool. Collective Defiance. Everyone loves Collective Defiance. 1 and 2 red, has Escalate, and of course choose 1 or more. Target player discards all the cards in his or her hand, then draws that many cards. Collective Defiance deals 4 damage to target creature. Collective Defiance deals 3 damage to target opponent. So you could actually pay more to do all 3 of them if you really want to. This one's my favorite, Mizium Mortars. Actually, I put this card in from my Return to Ravnica box opening. One in a red. Mizium Mortars deals 4 damage to target creature you don't control. And of course, if you do Overload, 3 and 3 red, which is, quite a bit. For 6, you get to cast this spell for your Overload cost. You do change the text, replacing all the instances of target with each. So if they have a whole bunch of creatures out, you're hitting every one of their creatures, not your creatures, their creatures for 4 damage. So Star of Extinction, in case you're playing a deck that really needs to have a whole bunch of planeswalkers destroyed. Star of Extinction, destroy target land. Does not have to be yours. Star of Extinction deals 20 damage to each creature and each planeswalker. So you get 3 things. You know, you get to kill a bunch of creatures, you get to kill one of their lands, and you get to hit all the planeswalkers. Hopefully you don't have a planeswalker when you cast it, but if you do, hey, you know what? It was probably worth it. Devil's Play, X and 1. Devil's Play deals X damage to target creature or player, and then of course it has flashback for X and 3, which I've actually done that flashback once because I really just wanted to do it. Great thing about these cards, these overpowered cards, is if you have Fire Song and Sunspeaker on red instant sorcery spells you control have lifelink. So that gets you 20 points of life. And if they have a whole bunch of them, it gets you actually more than that. This one will get you how much you pay for it or pay into it. So Lava Coil gives you 4 points of life. You know, so you're always beefing up. Exquisite Firecraft, which is a great one. 1 and 2 red. Exquisite Firecraft deals 4 damage to target creature or player and has spell mastery. If there are 2 or more instant sorcery spells in your graveyard, Exquisite Firecraft can't be countered by spells or abilities. That's great. Deals 4, and you get it. Hour of Devastation deals 5 damage. All creatures lose indestructible until end of turn. Hour of Devastation deals 5 damage to each creature and each non-bolus planeswalker. All right, now the meat and the potatoes. The couple of cards that really put this over the edge to do the damage is Reverberate and Double Cast. These two here, whatever spell you cast for pain, you're gonna, you're copying it. You want to hit them for as much as possible, and you're going to hit them, hit your opponent. Nice thing about this one is you can choose you can choose a different opponent, and in Commander you're going to have other opponents. So it's a nice thing to kind of do. Spread the love. Fumigate for when somebody really needs to get rid of all their creatures, all their little, what are they called? Tokens. And find all their, the only downside to this, oh wait, no, this one doesn't have the downside. Destroy all creatures, you gain 1 life for each creature destroyed this way. So you gain life with this one. Nice thing about that is whenever a white instant sorcery spell you causes you to gain life, Fire Song Sunspeaker does 3 damage to target creature or player. So this is destroying all the creatures. You're gaining life, so you're gaining the ability to hit them for 3 points. Ha 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 ha. Yes, that's funny. Cleansing Nova. This was not going to give you the ability to gain life, so you're not going to hit their people, but you are going to either get rid of the creatures or destroy all artifacts or enchantments. Hopefully, if you do play this one, it's later in the game where you don't need your mana rocks. Tormenting Voice, because sometimes you just need to get an extra card in your hand. You just don't have anything to play. So in that case, as an additional cost to cast Tormenting Voice, discard a card, draw 2 cards. And then, of course, Release the Gremlins. Release the Gremlins. I put this one in just because I really just wanted to see if I can get a bunch of 2/2 red gremlins in play. Excuse me. I would even kill my own artifacts if I really needed to get a bunch of gremlins into play just so I can attack. I think that would be really funny, kind of comical. And then, of course, Gift of Estates. Gift of Estates is a sorcery. If an opponent controls more land than you, search your library for up to 3 plains cards, reveal them, put them into your hand, and shuffle your library. That's literally one of the only white ramp spells I know that I can think of right now. I know I have at least 2 other ones, but it's the only one I can think of. Enchantments. Not too many of these. Gift of Immortality, 2 and a white. Enchant creature. When enchanted creature dies, return that card to the battlefield under its owner's control. Return Gift of Immortality to the battlefield attached to that creature at the beginning of the next end step. So if I would put this on Sunspeaker, primarily just because I don't want it to get hurt, and if it does get hurt, I want it to come back at the beginning of the next end step, which would be that one after the combat. This would then come back. So unless they have a bolt or a way of killing it after it's off, which they might because they're going to target it. If they're already targeting it once, why wouldn't they target it again, right? All that glitters. Enchant creature. Enchant creature gets +1/+1 for each artifact and or enchantment you control. And then, of course, Shielded by Faith. Enchanted creature as indestructible. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield, you may attach Shielded by Faith to that creature. You'll find actually this card in at least, I think, one other, maybe two other ones in my deck, or my decks. I love this card. This card is just really just awesome, and it works with a really good green card. Sunbird's Invocation, because this one, when you get it out, this one just lets you have a lot of fun. Whenever you cast a spell from your hand, reveal the top X cards of your library where X is the spell's converted mana cost. You may cast a card revealed this way, converted mana cost X or less, without paying its mana cost. Put the rest at the bottom of your library in a random order. This was just fun to play. I mean, this was just fun. If you play a 4-drop, and then you just look at the top 4 cards, and if you get another 1-drop, then you can, you just keep, you can't storm off. I mean, unless you have a lot of mana to do it with. I mean, I guess you could storm off, but I mean, you're already dropping a 6, so I guess you could storm off. Rage Reflection, cost 6. Creatures you control have double strike. So, I mean, this one, if you get it down, you really just want to beat Snot and do damage. It kind of helps you because you don't have that many creatures, like I said, but they do double strike, right? They do double strike. So now your 4/3 is hitting for 8. Now your 2/4 is hitting for 4. Now your 2/2 is hitting for 4. Your 3/3s and the 3/2s are hitting for 6. Your double strike are still hitting only for 2, but because he's already got double strike. You can't double strike a double striker. And then, of course, this guy's hitting for 4. I chose in this deck not to put in a lot of enchantments that, that were going to beef them up +1, +1, or +2, or anything like that. Okay, so this is the end of the video. These are my win cons. I mentioned earlier that one card is missing. This one is supposed to be a Basalt Monolith. And the reason why you want a Basalt Monolith is because of Zerta the Dawn Waker. It's 1 and Boros. So red or white. And it's a companion. Now, I don't use it as its companion. I just wanted it in the deck. So the abilities to activate that aren't mana abilities cost 2 less to activate. This effect can't reduce the mana in that cost to less than 1 mana. So with that said, Basalt Monolith has on it, it says tap to add 3 colorless mana. And then right below that, it says pay 2 to untap Basalt Monolith. So basically, you're getting it for free. It's netting you 1 every time you tap and untap it. It's netting you 1 to 1 mana. So instead of 3 mana, and then try to figure out how to untap it or wait for the next turn, so you can literally go off infinitely with this and Basalt Monolith and get infinite mana. So I'm going to tap and untap it, tap and untap it, tap and untap it, tap and untap it. I'm going to do it 70 times. And then I'm going to, let's just put that there. And then I'm going to hit you with the Banefire. Because it's over 5, you can't counter it. So that's one combo. It is basically Zerta and Basalt Monolith to get me infinite mana, to go off on a Banefire, or to just cast a whole bunch of creatures. Feldwar Sovereign. This is a great one. The only downside is I have no counterspell, so if they are able to kill it, they'll kill it. The Vigilance has lifelink to 4/6, and at the beginning of your upkeep, if you have 40 or more life, you win the game. So if you're able to get a lot of life and you're able to keep this on the board, you win the game. Number 2 win con. Aetherflux Reservoir. You're gaining a buttload of life. I mean, a lot of life. So this is the big blue laser beam. Aetherflux Reservoir. Whenever you cast a spell, you gain 1 life. For each spell you've cast this turn, then of course pay 50 life. Aetherflux Reservoir deals 50 damage to target creature or player. So it was really nice. You're able to kill out people. And if you get enough life, you can kill all 3 of them. Approach of the Second Sun. This is my Russian copy. Yes, it's Russian. I can't read that. I don't even know what no. It says Approach for a Second Sun. Basically, it's a win con. You cast it, and then if you cast it, or when you cast it, you gain 7 life. You put it 7th from the top of your library. And then when you cast it again, you win the game. So, and the last win con, Finale to Glory. And hopefully when you get this, it's kind of mid-grade, mid-level. You get a whole bunch of land. Zerta, Basalt Monolith, Finale to Glory. Get yourself 100 4/4 flyers. See? Create X 2/2 white soldier creatures tokens with vigilance. Or if X is 10 or more, also create X 4/4 white angel creature tokens with flying and vigilance. So yeah, I mean, Zelda the Dawn Waker, Basalt Monolith for 100, pay 2 white and 100 colorless. You got 100 2/2 white soldier creature tokens with vigilance, and you got 100 4/4 flying angel creature tokens with flying with vigilance. So yep, those are the win cons. This is actually my favorite deck, one of my favorite decks to play. It is slow at first. I've had a couple of games that just didn't go very well. But I've also had a couple of games that this deck is just rocketed at. If you like the video, if you think this is a nifty deck, please leave a message down below. I hope everybody likes it. This is one of my jankier decks. This janky deck actually works, though, whereas some of my other janky decks don't work. I'm actually in the process of blowing apart a blue deck that I went to a tournament with. I discovered that it only had like 31 lands in it, and it had no mana rocks. And I don't know what I was thinking when I built the deck. I don't know why it doesn't have any mana rocks. I don't remember if I took them all out for a reason or what. But yeah, it has no mana rocks in it. It's so heavy in. It's got like 6 creatures, and it's so heavy in spells. I don't know why I didn't put those in there. And I found myself on the games that I was playing. I found myself needing those mana rocks, and I didn't know where they were. So after the second game, I literally went through the deck, blew it apart on the table, and discovered there was no mana rocks in it. I didn't know why they weren't there, but I didn't cheat and put them in. I just let it sit and play it anyways. Ended up getting 8th place. 8 out of 36 is not bad. I tied with about 3 other people, but that's okay. So that's the deck. Hope everybody enjoyed it. Hope everybody loved it. If you have any questions, comments, if you liked the video, hit the thumbs up. If you didn't like the video, I don't care. Leave a message down below if you think there's something I'm missing in this deck or think I can tweak it a little bit better. If you have just any suggestions, love to hear from you, and I hope to hear from you all soon. Have a great day, and remember this Friday, I'll have another pack cracking ceremony. It didn't turn off.